ACEA Biosciences has been around for over 10 years, and yet it's pretty young in terms of the people that are involved in it. Young and yet very smart. And we have a group of people that are very committed to their work, to the innovations that they wanted to provide.
The initial mission of ACEA Biosciences was to provide innovative and cutting-edge products and solutions to life science research communities.
We're able to make a product that's better for all customers, all researchers.
I was a faculty assistant professor at University of Texas, and I was developing technologies, but there was no real products. There was no real impact to society or to community. Being the engineer, I really wanted to develop some products which could be used to make a new discovery, to advance their research, so that we hope these technologies, these products, could be really useful and beneficial to the research community.
We introduced Novocyte in an already crowded flow cytometry market with a specific goal of providing with easy access to high-performance technology, at the same time being able to provide an affordable and usable system that would serve them in their varied application needs.
Novocyte has many features which makes research and running experiments much easier. On top of being affordable, you can customize what type of lasers and detectors you would like.
The Novocyte cytometer allows you to detect up to 13 fluorescence parameters. Some of the PMTs are actually shared across laser lines, which saves space and cost. And with the 7-log dynamic range, you'll be able to see both very bright things and very dim things on one scale.
In terms of setting up experiments, the fact that you don't have PMT voltages to play with and have to set those and optimize those has been extremely useful, because it means that, particularly for more kind of junior members of the lab and more inexperienced users, it's one thing that kind of can't go wrong. One of the most attractive features has been the ability to deliver an absolute count and not have to incorporate other reagents such as counting beads.
The way cytometry is going is we're looking at more smaller and more automated cytometers, and the Novocyte is perfectly suited for that.
What caught my eye is I've seen all kinds of instrumentation. I thought the software was the first step to depart from the classical layouts we're all used to seeing and begin to make a more intuitive workflow. And when that really struck me was when the initial times when we were demoing the instrument we had in the lab, I had a postdoc with very little flow experience coming to use the machine. And right away, in explaining how it worked, he was finding different workflows within the software than I would have expected that were actually very clever, and it was intuitive to him, which is counter to all the previous software running flow cytometers that we've seen so far.
Working in a large institute, we have several people who are working on very high-end studies, multiple parameters, then to people who are just doing simple fluorescent protein expression. We need to be able to make sure that we cover all of their needs. And so the Novocyte is a very good machine for that purpose.
When we took a closer look at the Novocyte, we opened it up and we saw it was Newport hardware, it was coherent lasers.
The thing that I like best about the Novocyte is really the sampler.
It's able to cope with different types of media, such as 96-well plates or an array of fax tubes.
It not only gives you the flexibility that you'd expect, but it also allows you for a true walk-away operation.
Half the people using it basically will come down, drop their samples off, watch the first couple run to make sure everything's in place, and they'll walk away and come back in 45 minutes. And once they had taken the time to try this new instrument and try out the Novocyte and actually run a few experiments on it, right away the workflow and the software impressed them. And with that in mind, they have started to use that machine exclusively, knowing that it's just much easier to use and has the walk-away functionality.
So in terms of the impact the Novocyte's had on my team, we don't seem to have to spend as much time setting up people's experiments for them, setting up voltages, determining compensation. So overall, it frees us up to allow members of my staff to focus on elements of the core facility.
In the field, there's more of a move to having many more automated features in cytometers, so being able to automatically start up and shut down and clean the cytometer, having an inbuilt cleaning procedure is very useful.
A lot of times there's much more complicated, complex instrumentation that can be made to do what you want, but it's not as time efficient, it's very user intensive. And the ability to have a company like this that could readily address your problem allows us to trim our workflow and reduce the demands on our staff such that we can bring relatively inexperienced users to this newly updated instrumentation, and that allows us to provide what the user wants in terms of results in a timely format.
Also the ability to have a relatively complex experiment in a small box, 3 laser 13 color cytometer, gives us the flexibility as well. And the ease of use of that is very good for my users. I don't want to spend a lot of time training them because there are plenty of others coming along in the pipeline.
Machines will break. These are complex moving things, but what's important is that it can be diagnosed rapidly and fixed readily. And so far, that's one of the expectations they've actually exceeded.
One thing that actually projects well to our current customer base that we have started establishing is that how flexible and nimble we are and how reactive we are in terms of being able to respond to their needs. And we have people that are dedicated to make sure that we provide that flexibility, being able to respond really quick and showing that we actually are very committed in being part of this market.
They take what we say seriously and they immediately address whether it's plausible what we're asking or outside their design scope, and they're responsive. And that's really the one thing that's becoming rarer and rarer, is a company that actually can respond to you in a meaningful way.
ACEA Biosciences is funded by scientists and engineers. We have always had the custom needs in our mind. For us, the custom need is number one. We always want to make sure the product can meet the requirement from the custom side. We truly believe what we are doing are making a very positive impact to the research community.